Hi, my name is Hartley Dagador, and you're listening to Wake Up with Wonder podcast, where my daddy shares with you the gift of wonder.
Really quick, before we get started, I wanted to just give a shout out to all my friends, all the fellow wanderers out there, all of my soul family. Thank you for listening to this podcast. Your support, your ratings, reviews on iTunes are appreciated. If you share this podcast with friends, that's how we spread the gift of wonder. So thank you. And if you're a new listener, you can find out more info on the website, wakeupwithwonder.com. I want to tell you guys to stay tuned. I'm going to actually be pretty soon opening up an online community for the Wake Up with Wonder podcast. I'll be announcing that here shortly, probably in the next week or so. And today's episode is going to be an interview with my friend, Mr. Mark Sevillano Jr. Mark's a pretty interesting dude. He doesn't really need an introduction, but there will be one when the episode starts. I just want to tell you how I met him. It was a couple years ago at church. I just felt really drawn to him. We connected well. I wondered, I thought he was from Long Beach. So I asked him, and it turns out he wasn't. He was from Whittier. But yeah, we just hit it off. We were very similar. We had a lot of similar likes, kind of talked the same styles. So I think you're going to see that come through in the show, in the episode today. And I hope that you guys find value. It's a lot of laughs, a lot of fun. Even though we filmed this a month ago on National Orange Day in February, I think it's a very timely episode. It held true to today because there's a lot of hope to be had in this episode. So please listen through to the very end. About halfway through the episode, you're going to hear our little orange exercise that we did to spark wonder, and I invite you to try it. And then towards the end of the episode, Mark shares his story about that one time where he almost got to meet Kobe. So you don't want to miss that. All right, guys, thank you for listening. Enjoy the show. And when you're done, feel free to leave a rating or review on Apple Podcasts or iTunes. And you can even share this with a friend and spread the gift of wonder to people that might need it. All right, everyone. So I am sitting here with Mr. Mark, who happens to be quite a few things. A dad, a substitute teacher.
Yep.
I think he considers himself a wanderer.
Definitely
a wanderer. A lunch guru, as he says. He's an author. And am I missing anything?
I marry people.
An ordained minister, you like to say?
Wedding officiant.
Wedding officiant.
Yeah, you can find me on Yelp.
I'm sure there's plenty of good reviews, right?
About five good ones, 5 strong ones.
Nice. Cool, Mark. So welcome. Thank you for coming today.
Thank you, Jason. It's good to be here. Nice, beautiful, hot, sunny day.
Right. So let's just get right into it. Why is wonder important to you? We're here to talk about wonder.
Yeah, so wonder in itself is just such a cool concept, like wondering about the future, wondering if this could have happened, if that could have happened. I have always been someone who wonders. Like for my whole entire life, I always remember, and I could recall several times where I just sit and just wonder why did this happen. And mostly my wonder is centered around people. So I'll wonder what my mom and dad are up to, or what people are doing at 11 o'clock. What do most Americans do at 11 a.m.
Mm-hmm.
Some are at work, or some are that don't work. But I always just get caught up in the wonder of what people are doing and what people are up to. So
it's interesting that you say people. A lot of people wonder about life.
Mm-hmm.
When I think of wonder, I think of childlike curiosity first off, but the second thing I think of is connection.
Yes.
And when you wonder about people and you're getting curious, then there's connection to be had there.
Exactly. Because I like and I appreciate wonder in terms of I wonder how this machine works, or I wonder, if we'll ever make it to, if most people will make it to Mars, or I get that aspect, but I'm mostly I gravitate towards the wonder of life and people, and just that type of wonder rather than like how things work or whatever.
Definitely. And I even think with like how things work, there's still a connection aspect to it. So for example, like if we're ever going to get to Mars, like if we do get to Mars, who knows, we might connect with other life forms on Mars. Or perhaps if you're wondering about science and technology, you know, a lot of technology, the purpose behind it is to connect us, like social media.
Right.
So really, I mean, that how those things work, purpose is connection.
You're right. But you could picture me, like if you put me in a room and you like say that, I'll be like, well, who cares how it works? I just want to know the after effect, like how that will impact people, you know? So that's like kind of like my specialty, or like what I am drawn towards is just like, all right, who cares about how it works or like how we're gonna do it? But let's talk about how it's going to affect us as people, the impact.
I really like that you said impact. So at one point, I asked you, prior to this interview, I asked you, like, have you ever lost your sense of wonder? And you told me, no, you haven't. And I found that really hard to believe.
Right.
I've definitely lost my sense of wonder. I feel like most people have gotten bored with life and lost their sense of wonder.
Yeah.
But after reading your book, Mark, and learning a little bit more about you that way, I truly now believe that you've never lost your sense of wonder. Like I wanted to count how many times you said I wonder in your book, but I didn't get around to it. I'd estimate maybe like 40, 50 times you were talking about how you wondered as a child.
Yes, definitely. I mean, I'm telling you, I think my wonder has never really stopped, but it has gotten low. Kind of like your gas tank, you know, on empty or full. I think my wonder has gotten low at times, but it never has run out. That's the analogy I would say.
So you're always like topping it off and filling it back up.
Yeah, definitely.
So that brings me to my next question, actually. Like, how do you create or like experience wonder when there's no wonder to be had and like it's running low? Like, how do you create it and bring it back?
Yeah, that's such a good question. So I always look for inspiration, so things that inspire me. Oftentimes, a movie will spark my wonder. So whenever my wonder is running low, I either watch a movie, go out to lunch with a buddy, or talk to my kids.
Talk to your kids.
So those three things, if anyone's listening, those three things will fill you up and cause your wonder wheel to spin. Oh my gosh, watch a movie, all right, a good one. give don't watch Cloud Atlas. That's one of the craziest, like, boringest movies.
So give a recommendation of a good one.
So a good movie to watch that is one of my favorite movies is Vanilla Sky, okay, Into the Wild, or Across the Universe. You'll thank me later.
I'm writing down Across the Universe and Vanilla Sky as we speak.
Yeah, definitely. So watch a movie that will definitely spark your wonder. Have a great conversation over lunch with someone that you admire or respect. That will boost your wonder. And talk to a little kid, whether it's your little kid, a little cousin, a little niece or something, and just ask them, what do you think about this? What do you think about that? And it will just kind of cause some wonder to fill your mind and your heart. So
try to talk to the kid from that like childlike perspective and just try to gain a different view on life and just on the situation.
Definitely, because kids are the source of wonder. They wonder so much because they're so little. They're new to the world, so they don't really know. They're not jaded by life, and they don't know that we have to pay bills and taxes and stuff. They're not worried about that. So all that's in their brain is just like, wow, I wonder this and I wonder that. And, so children are the best.
I don't know if I'd quite say they're the source of wonder. Maybe God, maybe higher power, whatever you believe.
Right.
But kids are the example and like the epitome of how like we want to be and how we should always wonder.
Thank you, Jason. That is so true. So yeah, the source is a higher power, is God, is that's the source of all wonder. But yeah, you're right. I take that back. I think children do possess a lot of the wonder.
Cool. So movies, children, and lunch. I mean, those are everywhere. So no wonder you've never lost your sense of wonder. You are always making it happen. You know my way. We shared our orange exercise today.
Yes.
So
yes.
I like to, for you guys that don't know, I like to take a bite of an orange whole. And Mark did this with me.
Could you believe that?
So I take one bite like it was an apple, and that bittersweet taste and that bittersweet feeling when you bite into it is basically what life is like. And like, it's not always the same. Sometimes it's sweet first, sometimes it's bitter first, other times it's just like the perfect mesh of bitter and sweet, which actually means you should probably try it again and see if it tastes differently.
Yeah, it's definitely, for those listening, it's not that bad. Just take a small little bite, mix it up with the orange. Like, it's fine. It's really not that bad. But it was definitely an experience. So thank you for experiencing, allowing me to be part of that experience.
No problem. So other than the orange, when was the last time that you can recall being in like a total state of just wonder and just...
Actually, it was, I think, 2 nights ago, I watched a movie called Tomorrowland.
Okay.
And that came out in 2015. And one of my buddies, David Suarez, he talked to me about the movie. He was like, I really like that movie. And so I'm like, you know what? I've always kind of had an interest in it, but I never watched it. So I rented it and I watched it. And wow, it just made me wonder about the world, about the future of the world. And it also sparked my wonder about dreamers and people who have ideas and people who have hope and people who don't give up. So that's what the whole movie's about.
It's not the Walt Disney movie.
Yeah, it is.
It is.
Yeah,
Okay.
The Walt Disney movie Tomorrowland.
So just like people that had big dreams from the time they were a child. Does it go back to his childhood dreams?
It does have childhood in it, but it's basically about this Tomorrowland. Do you want me to tell you what it's about, or
we can talk about that another time?
Okay,
yeah,
cool.
I don't want to ruin the story.
Yeah, I don't want to go into that. So just
so-
watch the movie.
So 2 nights ago, you watched a movie, and that was the last time you were in a total state of wonder.
Yes.
Cool. And how did you feel when you were in that state of wonder?
I felt curious.
Okay.
Because I had to, I was curious about who are these people in my life, or am I one of the people who never give up and have, some hope for our future. Like, I just started like thinking about that. So I was curious about, who are the dreamers in my life, and I was kind of inspired and just filled with hope and excitement about the future, and it really sparked some like good in me, because as a parent and as just American citizen going to work every day and doing the average thing day to day, you can get kind of like just not depressed, but you can just get like tired and worn out, and so you need that spark, you need that that dosage of like, wow, like there's more to this than just the everyday grind. So
And we have to create that ourselves.
we do have to create that ourselves, or else we'll be so sad and we'll just kind of be on clockwork.
I actually wonder, so we're talking about this Disney Tomorrowland movie, and you're talking about like the grind of life and just routines and rituals and how we get bogged down.
Mm-hmm.
So do you think like if someone worked at Disneyland and like they had like the best job in the world, like I don't know what the best job there would be, but if they got to do that every single day, like if they the Jungle Cruise, if they were the train like navigator and they just narrated the whole cruise, do you think that they would be bored of their job and that the routine would like hit them and settle in?
100% yes.
Yeah, we can't get away from it, right?
Yeah, I mean, no matter if you work, whatever. So no matter what job you have, if you're doing your passion, then I think you will kind of always have that like sense of like happiness, and it becomes exciting for you. But even, I'm sure even like Oprah, can get kind of like, all right, I need something new. And because we're humans, we like newness, we like adventure, we like to be inspired. So I think it just goes for anyone, no matter what you do, you have to kind of spark that in you and create that.
Got it. So that what you're talking about, that routine and that ritual and that boringness, I like to refer to it as the force of average.
Yes.
Okay, so when the force of average settles in, I mean, I don't go watch movies because I feel like I need to be above average. I need to step it up. So like, what do you do when the force of average settles in and you feel just like you're falling victim to all that?
Yeah, well, definitely I kind of have to have a pep talk with myself, because your mind is like the root of like everything you feel. So I just try to talk to myself and just be like, all right, Mark, let's do this, like get back on your feet, and I just kind of pep talk myself into rising above, and then I revisit my goals. What are my goals for this year? What am I aiming towards? And then I just like dive back into that, and that really helps me to like propel to the next level.
So you make new commitments is what I'm hearing. You just get like clear on your why and your vision.
Yes, definitely.
Does that force of average and that routine, so you get clear on your vision and your why, but I don't know, for me that just doesn't always work. Like sometimes I'll do it and it'll work for a little bit and then I got to do it again the next day. It's almost like it's constant motivation, like constant inspiration that we're seeking.
Yeah, definitely. So you don't want to like aim for motivation. I read somewhere that like motivation is like crap. Like it does nothing.
I agree, 100%.
It lasts only for a moment. So you don't want to like look for motivation or like keep motivating yourself all the time. It really stems from like a sense of purpose and a sense of like I will accomplish this. I am going to get there. So if you're aiming and fighting towards that, and just like being positive too, because we're our own worst enemy. And if we tell ourselves like, all right, I'm gonna do this, I can do this. And who are you doing it for? Are you doing it for yourself? Are you doing it for your kids? Are you doing it, to prove something? Whatever reason why you're doing it, you have to know that you can accomplish it, and you have to know who you're accomplishing it for. So those two things mixed with it, like, yeah, you're going to be motivated, but I mean, you need more than that. You need to know where you're headed.
It's also like almost like wondering what you're like capable of, and like wondering like what's next, and wondering like what that more is.
Yeah, and not a sense of like wondering what it is, but knowing what it is. Certainty. Like actually like believing. Like it takes belief to know, like you have to believe that you will get there one day, or you will accomplish what you set to do. So
I'm sure being an author, that kind of plays a big role in it. I personally want to write a book, and a lot of times I sit there at the keyboard just wondering versus like being confident and certain and knowing what to write about.
Yeah.
So how like does this feeling of wonder impact you as an author? How did it inspire your book?
No, that's a great question, Jason. For me, I always say that wonder is like the first step, and then you have to turn your wonder into action. You have to like actually do it. So for me, I've always wondered like, how do you write a book? What will it be like if I were to publish a book? And so for me, thank God for the internet and for Google, because you just write, you type in, how do you publish a book? And then the Google search will come up, and then you could read tons of articles about like, how you can either be a self-publisher or you can get a publishing company to represent you and stuff like that, like the price ranges, marketing and all of that. So
I believe you did self-publishing, right?
Yeah. So I went the self-publishing route, which I don't recommend. I don't recommend that you self-publish a book, because people who self-publish, they're not as respected as those who actually get hired by a company and they get published through an agency. So definitely shoot for the higher route, which is, get someone to publish you. Because nowadays anyone can self-publish. Like you, Jason, write, whatever 100 pages and have a self-publisher publish for you, and then that's it. You got it out there, and that's great.
Yeah.
But if you were to have a company represent you and believe in your book and kind of pitch the idea and they publish you, that's a whole new ball game, because now you have proof that someone, an agency, a company has bought into your story. So that's the route that I encourage people to do. But if you want to have a sense of like, hey, I wrote a book and I don't care who reads it, I just want to self-publish this and accomplish my goal, yeah, definitely self-publish. So
so if you did it again, I mean, I don't know if there's a second book in the works or not. Would you self-publish, or how would you do it?
Yeah, so definitely I would want to get a company to represent me and publish. And I do have 2 children's books that I already completed, and so I'm gonna pitch to some people, pretty soon. But the first book is called Mr. Mark Says I Can, and the second book is called Mr. Mark Says I Can't. And so it's all about the stuff that you can do as a child and all of the stuff that you cannot do as a child. Like, you cannot just run and cross the street without looking both ways. So things like that.
Pretty
you cannot,
practical
practical things. You cannot, put your hand over the stove and touch the fire and stuff like that. So look out for those books soon. Hopefully someone publishes me.
I'm excited to hear that, man. I also want to do a children's book too. So hoping Wake Up with Wonder is a children and an adult's book. So
yes, I'm telling you, Jason, you caught on to something with like wonder. It's such a good topic, and I'm so happy to be here. So thanks so much.
Cool. So can you give me, or give the audience, your personal definition of the word wonder?
Ooh.
I know that one caught you off guard. You weren't quite expecting that.
Okay. All right. Let me think about that. So my personal definition of wonder,
yes,
is to always be open to any possibility out there.
So wonder, to always be open to any possibility out there.
Mm-hmm.
The power of possibility.
Yeah, anything's possible.
I like it.
Yeah.
Simple.
Power of possibility. And being open. I think the key is being open to it.
Being open.
Because you could wonder, why the sky is blue, and then you get your answer and you're like, no, that's not why. You're not open. You're not open to that answer. You're not open to that, to go there. So I think part of wonder is being willing to go there.
So like the possibilities are endless, but if you have like a no soliciting sign on your door, you're never gonna get a shot.
Exactly.
Dang, that's pretty simple, but pretty real. How about for teaching? How does wonder impact you as a teacher? How does it influence your line of work there?
Yeah, so I substitute teach TK all the way through 8th grade.
Okay.
And I absolutely love it. It's so cool to see, to be in a classroom with so many young people who have wonder, just spilling out of them, I think, one of the things I do whenever I teach a class is I always start off with 2 truths and a lie. And I talk about 3 facts about Mr. Mark, and then the class has to guess which one is the lie.
I love that you do that. That's awesome.
Thank you. So I start off my classes like that, and it's sort of like an icebreaker because they're wondering, who is this sub? Who is this guy? What is he like? Is he a nice guy? Is he mean? Is he strict? So doing 2 truths and a lie, I let them into my life, and then they get to know me a little bit. They begin to trust me, and hopefully they begin to like me, and then I'll be able to teach, and I'll be able to start the class. So
you're creating wonder from like the moment the bell rings, and what the impact behind that is the connection that's coming out of it.
Exactly, because they are wondering, who is this new sub, and then I get to play that little icebreaker, and then we go from there. But like in the classroom, just on an average day, children just come out with the most craziest questions. And so their mind, you can see just the wonder wheel just spinning and all the time. So I love it. It's inspiring.
In case any of the viewers or listeners are wondering, they might be, what's the most bizarre, like outlandish lie that you said when you do 2 truths and a lie?
So I think the most outlandish lie would probably be I'm trying to think of all of them that I've done. I think one time I put that I got Chick-fil-A free for a year. Okay, and then I said that I went skydiving, and then I said that I met Kobe Bryant. And the lie was, drum roll, The lie was that I met Kobe Bryant. So it wasn't like super extravagant, crazy like lie. But I wish I would have met him, you know, and it could have been possible because we live in Southern California and like there's celebrities everywhere around here. So I don't think that's the most outlandish, but I think that's the most recent, and that's the most that like I wish I would have met him, you know.
Yeah.
So
unfortunately, we can't, man.
Yeah.
Did you ever read Kobe's book by chance?
I didn't, but I actually went on the Kelly Clarkson show in the audience, and Kobe Bryant was the guest there. And so he was like maybe like 10 feet away from me or so.
So you almost met him.
And so I saw him in person, you know, if that counts. And he gave us his book, one of his books that he wrote, and I still have it at my house. I haven't cracked it open, but it was such a privilege to see him in person, and that was like last October, so he died like 3 months after I saw him.
That's really recent. Wow.
Yeah.
It was a missed opportunity, man.
Mm-hmm.
You were 10 feet away. You could have balled up a piece of paper, shot it on the stage, and yelled Kobe, man.
I could have been like, Kelly Clarkson, Kobe. I want to meet Kobe. Get out of my way.
Cool, man. Well, I appreciate all your time today, Mark. I hope that our listeners learned a little bit about how you experience wonder. I hope that they can relate in some ways. I know that you gave them some tools, watch some movies, have lunch with a friend, and what was the other one?
So watch a movie, have a lunch with a friend, and have a great conversation. And then the last one was talk to a kid or interview a kid and just find out, you know, what they think about. Ask them, where do oranges come from, and see what they say.
There you go. I actually had one more question for you. I totally forgot.
Go for it.
So as a ordained
minister, wedding officiant.
How, like, I'm sure there's wonder to be had there. Like, when you're standing here marrying people, are you wondering like about how this marriage is going to turn out? Are you wondering if you did everything you could to help them? Like, what do you wonder there?
Yeah, that's such a fun question because you know, some people reach out to me from Yelp. So I've never met them in my life. I don't know who they are. I don't know their background, their history, anything like that. And they want me to officiate their wedding. So what I do is I ask them to kind of email me or text me like a blurb of how they met and just how they fell in love and stuff like that. So I get an idea of who they are.
Okay.
But yeah, I always wonder, like, will this marriage last? You know, will these two people really make their promise to each other and say, you know, till death do us part, for better or worse, you know? And I'm sad to say, but I've married about 25 people, and I think one of them for sure is no longer together. But hey, you know, 1 out of 25, that's not that bad, you know?
That's not too bad.
But yeah, I mean, I always wonder, I mean, at first I wonder, like, shoot, like, am I going to pronounce this right? Am I going to look okay? And is everything going to go well? And then I think, like, in hindsight, like when I'm driving home or, you know, when it's all said and done, I do wonder, you know, how is this couple gonna turn out, you know? And I always hope for the best, and I always hope that they keep their commitment to each other.
You just kind of like pray and just give it up to God and just... Yeah,
I mean, I did my part. Now they have to go and do their part. So it's a beautiful experience. I love marrying people. It's such a cool job.
Cool, man. Good to hear. Well, before we go, do you want to share with the listeners where they can find you, maybe learn about your book, or obviously they can go to Yelp?
Yeah, definitely. So my Instagram is Mr. Mark Sees This. So at MR and then Mark, M-A-R-K, and then Sees, S-E-E-S, and then this, T-H-I-S. From there, you could get my YouTube page, you can get my Twitter, Snapchat, all of that. So I'm on TikTok too.
I hear you're TikTok famous nowadays.
I'm not quite TikTok famous. I only have like 800 followers, but yeah, I'm on all social media platforms. I'm on Yelp. For Yelp, you could type in Mr. Mark the Wedding Officiant or Mr. Mark the Officiant. Yeah, that's what it is. But yeah, honestly, it was such a pleasure to talk to you, and I love what you're doing with wonder, and I hope all the listeners just get inspired to keep their source of wonder alive and flowing. And whenever they get low on wonder, I hope they do things to fill up that wonderment, like that sense of wonder in their selves. So I think once wonder dies, I think that's when a part of us like just becomes hopeless, you know? So I think as long as we keep wonder alive, we'll always have hope. And with hope, we'll always like have the will to live and keep going. So
And it's a daily thing. It's like wonder can die any day. Like I literally wake up every morning and do journal exercises and eat oranges and stuff to create wonder. So daily thing.
Yeah, for me, I always treat everything as like a daily dosage. The Bible actually talks about God's mercies being new every day. So I kind of take that and I say, you know, my attitude is going to be new every day. My start is going to be new every day. So like, just know that like wonder does take like a daily reminder. You know, you have to remind yourself every day. And so does a lot of stuff. So whenever you think like, man, how much will this last or how long, it's every day you have to make those choices.
New commitments, new choices every day.
Daily.
All right, Mark. So just to touch base, Mr. Mark sees this on
Mr. Mark
Instagram.
sees this
Cool.
on Instagram.
All right. Take care, buddy. Have a good one.
All right. Thank you.